Hey guys, so I've got another paper flower tutorial for you today. If you haven't checked out my first two tutorials, make sure to go to the link in the description and you can check those out as well. This one today has individual petals, so it's a great candidate if you want to do a giant paper flower or you just want to spend a lot of time making a paper flower. I've got a baby girl coming here in the next few months, and so I've been making lots of flowers for the nursery, and that's one of the fun things you can do. So with this individual flower, the SVG is free on my website. I'll put a link in the description for that as well. So free tutorial, free SVG, it's awesome. And you can even use this for commercial use for the flowers. Don't sell the SVG, it's free. Give it to people free, but you can sell the flowers. Okay, then one other thing. Oh, I was going to tell you. So this one is sized for a 8.5 by 11 sheet. That if you fill all of your petals to an 8.5 by 11 sheet, it should come out about this big. If you want a smaller flower, I would recommend just cutting out this largest layer of flowers. You could shrink the whole thing down, but then the petals on the inside will get pretty small. I'll show you in just a second. So again, free SVG on the blog. I've already cut the pieces out and I'm going to show you how to assemble it. So the circle is your base. You're going to use that. Then we have the 4 sizes of petals, the extra large. And again, if you want a smaller flower, I would recommend taking these ones out. The large, the medium, and the small. And these are really small. That's why I said you could shrink the whole thing, but these are just so tiny, it would be pretty hard to work with them. For the SVG, I did include one extra petal compared to this one. Obviously, flowers vary, so I just gave a little wiggle room. You could add a few more. If you have a few left over at the end, you didn't do it wrong. It's just a flower. Okay, and then the one weird piece in this one, it looks like a butterfly. It is not a butterfly. Here, let me go to the close-up cam so you can see. There you go. It's not a butterfly. I know it looks like it. This is actually the very center of your flower. I just kind of configured it a little different to make it easier for you guys. And I'll show you that in a second. All right, whew, information. Let me take a breath. Okay, so we're going to start with the extra large petals. Go ahead and grab one. Now, all of these petals have a slit down the middle. Let me show you on the close-up. There is this slit. For some flower tutorials, you use that slit to create folds and stuff. With this one, just kind of let it be its own thing. It will do it itself. But the slits are very helpful for your first step, which is to crease. So I'm using a Cricut tool. You can use an extra credit card or a ruler if it's thin enough. And you are just going to crease each petal right down the middle. So let me do one and then I'll kind of show you. So we're just creating a little bend in our petal. And this can be as much or as little as you want. Okay, so let me show you another one. Go ahead and lay it flat. Place your credit card or Cricut tool right in the middle and then just fold up for the petal to bend just a little. I wouldn't go too much. You do want to be able to see the whole petal. It doesn't need to be folded in half. All right, and I kind of messed up on that one. But it's okay. If you don't get it quite centered, you probably won't notice. If you're super particular, you will. But it just takes some practice. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these for all 4 sizes, and then I'll talk to you guys in a minute. All right, you can go ahead and put your Cricut tool or credit card away. You're done with that for now. Okay, So I have all these petals folded. I did notice, I forgot to tell you guys, this is just normal cardstock. So nothing fancy. I bought this at Michael's. It's the Recollections, but you can use any cardstock. Okay, so go ahead and grab your base. That's your circle here. And then take an extra large petal. Again, if you want it smaller, you can shrink your base down and you'll just skip this first ring. Now you'll notice your petals have a rounded oval part here. Let me get to the close-up, sorry. Okay, a rounded oval part, and then they have this rectangular part. The rectangular part is where you're going to put the glue, and that's going to go right around the rim of the circle, so the whole oval part should be on the outside. Okay, I'm just using a standard hot glue gun for this. I'm going to put a little glue. And then again, just the rectangle part on the circle. Don't put your finger on the slit because you will burn yourself like I just did. Okay, and then the petal hanging out. And this one can just lay pretty flat for now. You can fluff it later. Okay, then we're going to rotate it slightly. Grab your next petal, and you're going to just let them overlap a little. All right, go ahead, hot glue, and place it. And again, this slit doesn't matter too much, especially on these larger petals. When we get to the smaller petals, you will notice the slits will overlap a little, and that is their intent. But on the big petals, they're mostly just there for ease of design. All right, now you're just going to continue the process with all of the extra large petals. All right, so now we have our first layer done. Let me show you the back. So you see all the petals, but none of the rectangles. And if you're looking closely, I didn't quite space them evenly. You can tell at the end, but it's gonna look just fine when it's all said and done. Okay, now we're going to repeat the process with the large petals. And the only tricky part about this is just deciding where to place them. So I have designed these so the rectangle back, so go ahead and fold your rectangle down, and then your rectangle back is going to go right in, just butt up against the first rectangle. So there's no guesswork, it's just going to place right inside. Okay, so let me glue this one down and then I'll show you with the next one now that I've kind of explained it a little. So take your large petal, fold down the rectangular flaps, and then you're just going to glue it in place right up against your extra large petals. Okay. So you can't really see inside there. Okay, let me glue the rest of those and then I'll get back with you. Now, you guessed it, repeat the same process with the medium petals. Okay, I've got the medium petals in place now, and again, I had 2 left over this time. Okay, with the small petals, you are actually going to do 2 rings. Go ahead and do that. Alright, so I've got all of the small petals in now. Now it's time to use, and I actually used all of the small petals, so I didn't have an extra for that one. Okay, so now it's time to use our butterfly piece, or our center. Now this is actually just 4 petals that I've connected together, and that's just because of how small they are and because of the way you're going to fold them. So go ahead and pick 2 opposing sides of your butterfly, so a top wing and a bottom wing, if we're actually calling it butterfly. And you're going to fold these. You can use your tool. I'm just going to use my fingernail because they're so tiny. Fold them like you did all the other flowers, petals. Okay. Then you're going to bend those into the center. And I'm having them split center. You can see that. Okay. And then do the same thing with your other 2 petals. They're just going to go around the inside ones. All right, and that just creates your little bud for the inside of your flower. All right, go ahead. Put your last dollop of glue. And then you can place this. All right. While that is setting, I'm going to go ahead and look at my petals. These outside ones do look a little flat compared to my other ones, so I'm just going to bend them in a little bit. And that's just preference depending on what surface your project is going on. I'm just bending them in, and it's not really doing that much, to be honest. But sometimes the really small details are what make the flower. All right. Okay. And we are done. Look at that beauty. Okay, so if you have any questions about these paper flowers, again, the SVG is totally free. It's on my blog. I'll put a link in the description. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, or you can always contact me through Facebook, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Thank you guys for being here today, and happy crafting.